So let's do that. So let's just introduce ourselves, introduce the idea behind this, and that it's meant to be kind of a light, bite-sized information about digital technology and culture. And we can say a few things there and some topics that we've been thinking about.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Cool. All right.
I don't have a script or anything. The other day I had a paper or something, but I guess that's also the thing. Let me see.
Do you don't have it on your like Dropbox paper or something?
I do. I have my computer on the side. Let me just see. Let me see because I printed something.
You save all the files you printed?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sharing screen still?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Nono, and this is the Getting Simple podcast. Hi everyone, it's Nono here, and I'm happy to introduce today a new series that we're going to call Bytes, and also introduce a co-host for this series that is a friend of mine called Aziz Barbar. Hi Aziz.
Hey, no, good to be here, man. We've been talking about this for a while, and I know you've been in the podcast business for some time. So have I, in other ways. I have been helping producing one. So we've been exchanging ideas and workflows for a while. So it's really fun to kind of be able to do this together now.
Awesome. I would like to hear in a second for listeners who are behind the headphones a bit more about Aziz, what he does and what he's passionate about and why I brought him to this show. You might know who I am already from the Getting Simple podcast, from previous episodes. We're going to introduce this Bytes series as part of the same podcast feed, but these are going to be shorter format episodes, so hopefully ranging from 5 to 25 minutes or so. We don't really know what's going to be yet, but you will see it as we go. This is an exciting experiment that like a more back and forth conversation. It's not a one-to-one interview where I'm just asking questions to someone and we can, make mistakes. We can just share thoughts and things that might not show up on normal Getting Simple podcast episodes. So before we hear a bit more from Aziz, I want to tell you the thinking behind the name. So one of the things that I think this is really characteristic of what happens to us both, Aziz, is that in thinking the name, we kind of got paralyzed a bit on recording, right? And we had to wait until we had a clear name that we wanted this series to be called. And we ended up coming up with Bytes. Bytes, B-Y-T-E-S, stands in some way for bytes, B-I-T-E-S, right? Like small bites of content that we're going to share with you, small conversations, but also the actual word byte. It's B-Y-T-E. That is the digital storage unit. And this is because the main topics that we're going to cover here have to do with digital technology and culture, covering topics that might be at first really technical, but we're going to try to explain them in a way that we can all understand and also think about them and see how they affect our lives. So if you've been following the podcast or you have listened to previous episodes, you might know who I am already. So I'm your host, Nono Martínez Alonso. I'm also on the Nono live stream on YouTube, and I also publish posts on my blog and a newsletter. So now we're going to hear from Aziz, what he does, what he's passionate about. So Aziz, do you want to tell us who you are?
Yeah, thanks, Nono. So I haven't been as productive as you in the digital space, but this is an area that's really interesting to me. And we have had multiple conversations about the way you produce these things, the topics that you follow, which kind of interject with my work. So I'm an architect by training, but I wouldn't say I'm very kind of engaged with the profession as it is, but more towards kind of computational design. So I'm really interested in digital environments, automated construction techniques, building performance, and all things digital.
Yeah, you'll get to know Aziz more as we go. But one thing I'll tell you is that from my experience working with him on creative projects and things that have to do with podcasts and website development and programming and other projects. It's really fun. I enjoy a lot working with you, and hopefully we get to know your worldview and what you think about all of these technological things. We're probably going to learn a lot from you.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so thrilled to be part of your platform. So I'm definitely looking forward to this and doing more episodes with you. And so before we share with everyone what our thoughts are and what are the topics we hope to cover, I just want to go back to what happened a few moments ago and ask, like, why do you save every file you've ever printed, man? Like, to me, that's such a waste of space. It's just crazy.
I thought you were gonna say the opposite. Like that, it's I found I started doing this. Let's see. Yeah, I started doing this just 1.5 years ago, and I realized like how haven't I done this before? Like it's crazy. Like the files you usually print, for at least for me, the text-based things are super small, and many times you want to refer to something you've printed, and if you printed it, regardless of what it is, it's gonna be there. So I don't know. I found it to be pretty useful.
Yeah. I mean, I just said it because like right now my hard disk is pretty full and I'm like struggling to back things up and decide which things like I'm gonna, just sleep over for a while.
I just bought this MacBook Pro 13-inch M1 with 1 terabyte, and that's been one of the best decisions I've made lately. I'm wondering if like 2 terabytes, even if it was like 600 euros, would have been even better, because I've already gone through like 300 or 400 gigs by just syncing things I have on Dropbox, and I have 2.4 out of 3 terabytes of Dropbox full, and I'm starting to have that in the back of my mind as well, like the conversation of when is the 3 terabytes going to fill up, and I'm gonna have to do the same thing I was doing before.
And I have a lot of files I haven't backed up anywhere, stupidly, and the other day, I left my bag with my laptop at a coffee shop in Monrovia. And I freaked out, dude. Like,
so you got it?
I got it back. Yeah, I was like, I was expecting it to be gone.
Wow.
But I realized about an hour later, and like driving back to the coffee shop, I was twirling with both hands my hair. I was so nervous.
I kind of learned that. I think I learned it the hard way in some projects that I've fully lost, but nothing super big. But I found a really weird way, right? I have 2.5 terabytes on Dropbox, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have a way to back that up anywhere, like unless I cloned everything I have on Dropbox, right? Usually I don't have a computer that is greater than 500 gigs or 1 terabyte. So I found this weird hack where I create on a Mac or Windows, you create a separate user account, and then you set the syncing folder of Dropbox to a folder on the hard drive. And you have a hard drive that is like 5 terabytes, then it just downloads everything that you have on Dropbox there. And then after a few months, you can plug it in, also open that same user account, and Dropbox will think, okay, it's an outdated Dropbox folder, and it just updates all the contents with everything that's changed, so you don't have to re-download everything. So that's been my kind of double backup way of putting things on Dropbox and then saving to a hard drive that way.
Nice.
I also have this thing. This is something that we could discuss in future episodes as well. I have this thing that I've started doing recently with like GPG encryption keys. So trying to get, even if you have the thing that you sometimes do, that you want to save something on Dropbox, but it's sensitive data, and you think, okay, if somebody opens my Dropbox account, if they download everything or they look for cards or credit cards or other sensitive information, I started learning how to encrypt and decrypt things, and like having a way, like a physical backup of like the keys for decrypting things. So that way, it's a lot safer to save sensitive codes or data.
So Nono, looks like we're off to a really good start here. I mean, we just had an impromptu episode about digital storage, and I guess it's not at all ironic that we're called Bytes, right? So what else? What do you think? What are the other kind of topics that we want to cover on our show? I mean, you just mentioned encryption, and I guess that's the kind of subject that we want to have a conversation about, right? Like, it's technology that we interact with or hear about so frequently, but then at the end of the day, it it can be sort of black box to most of us who want to use it.
Yeah, one thing I have in mind is we have such a big technological background, right? We've learned how to code. We've come from using computer software to create different things. And the other day I ran into a question from a listener or a person who watches the live stream, right? And they were asking me or thanking me for doing that content, but at the same time saying like, it's impossible for me to follow, is too advanced. And, that's what happens when you get into the weeds or like really deep into different technologies, may it be machine learning or computational design or geometry or things like that, or even mathematical computation things. So one effort that we want to do is bring down to earth many topics that might be overwhelming to learn from, things that are kind of tags or how can I call like hashtags or keywords that appear on the media or appear on many forums or even on Hacker News. And we're going to try to digest them in a way that you and I, Aziz, can understand, but also the audience. And, you might hear terms like, augmented reality or virtual reality. You might be familiar with them or not. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, reinforcement learning, or networks like StyleGAN, Pix2Pix. I'm just saying things that some of you might know what they are, but if you don't, that's the purpose of this, is to bring those things down to how they intersect with our daily lives and with our culture.
I'm really looking forward to our next conversation, our next episode here, and we hope to catch you all next time.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.